Tiny Dancer, and that is the way the concert opened last night at Madison Square Garden, and so our show this afternoon too. And welcome to the live 17th birthday celebrations we've been doing all this week from the Hard Rock Cafe. And welcome to Elton John, one of our great friends through all of our years. Well, not all 17.
No, not 17.
No.
Not quite.
Not quite.
Almost.
But you've been touring...
Since the 14 years.
You've been touring and just doing incredible. It doesn't make any difference what you decide to do and where you decide to go. Everybody loves your concerts, and certainly so far. Now, I remember one time you were here, a critic didn't like your show. That was a few years ago.
That was John Rockwell, wasn't it?
Oh, somebody, whatever it was, yeah. But so far, I haven't seen anything. It was negative in any way,
I haven't
shape,
seen
or
anything,
form.
no.
Only needs critics, right?
Right.
Elton John, welcome on behalf of your vast audience of fans and people who dearly love you and your music and all the music you've given us. It's kind of fitting that you're sharing our birthday with us, because here we are, the last bastion of rock around New York, and it was that way when you first began. We were still doing it, and we still are doing it now. And it's a real... Well, you sit down and relax because you just walked in. If you don't mind, could we do Leave On?
Yeah.
And then you're going to play EJ the DJ.
Okay, fine.
So we'll get your records ready, some things that you wanted to hear.
Okay.
And right now, we're going to do Leave On. Thanks, Dennis, very much. We are live indeed, and a lively crowd, and a great afternoon. Everyone's here enjoying our time and some music, and some of the music selected by Elton John. We asked for a couple of his favorites, and we're about to do some more of that too. Elton John, who's of course working and kicking all kinds of things across the stage. 2 nights in a row now, again tonight, tomorrow, and everything, and then on with the tour. Where does the tour go from here?
A good question. I don't know if we finish New York. I think we might go to Montreal, Quebec. And I was ill, so we've had to lengthen the tour to redo Charlotte, Miami and Tampa, because I missed those dates because I had the flu. So it now lasts till about the 23rd of November, at which point I should be scraped up by a shovel and put on the boat or a plane and sent back to England in an urn, I think. I've been on the road now since December, and really it's getting a little too much for me.
Well, especially with the flu bug, because that flu is one that hangs with you and goes in varying degrees, but when it really hits you, that's the first time you've ever missed a concert, isn't it?
First time ever. Usually I go on stage with a broken leg or something. I'm not a broken arm, but I've never missed a show before that, and Charlotte was the first one I ever missed.
I remember we talked about it because I thought something terrible must have happened, and it had to be that flu bug, because the one that's around now, for a certain period of time it begins, and then at a certain time you don't feel like moving.
I couldn't stand up, let alone go on stage, so... It was quite frightening, because I was at the building, and I said, for Christ's sake, get me out of here before they announce that the show's off, or they're going to lynch me. So we had about a week off, and it's done us all a lot of good.
Well, selfishly, we're very happy to have you here, feeling better, and being able to do our New York concerts, because I think you know how the people in New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, this area feel about you, as they always have, right from the very beginning. And it would be a disaster if we didn't have our Elton John concerts. Never's enough of them. But you'll have to do something about that as time goes on. When
this tour finishes, I really have to take stock of my situation, and for the time being, I can't really see me doing many more concerts on a lengthy tour basis anyway. I mean, I'll always do concerts, but not on a lengthy tour, 12, 14-week tour. It really is getting too much.
Thanks very much, guys. All right, and Elton John is our guest DJ this afternoon. And EJ not only has been doing concerts at night, but has been fighting the flu bug, which has been traveling on the concert tour with him. And I really appreciate E for effort, E for Elton, EJ the DJ, and all that, because it's tough to do when the bug's hitting you on the side of your head and on top of your head.
Well, I kind of feel as though I'm going to pass out any second, so if I pass out in the middle of this intro, you know what's happened. This actually is one of my favourite records at the moment. It's got one of the cleverest raps at the beginning. I don't usually like rap records. I know anyone can make a rap record. My grandmother can, and I loathe them, but this is a great rap on the beginning of this one. Since Chaka Khan sing, it's fabulous, and she's always had such a great voice anyway. And this is I Feel For You. It's such a great record.
Chaka Khan. Who Wears These Shoes? Yes, Elton John, I Feel For You, Chaka Khan, a record that Elton introduced to you just a few moments ago. And in that span of time, just a few minutes, Elton John has left us, and hopefully will be able to do his show at the Garden tonight, and that's what he wanted, to be able to get back to the hotel maybe and rest, because in the amount of time since the beginning of the show, he got worse, and as a matter of fact was about to pass out. He feels the chills and then heat flashes, and he had my coat on for a while and everything, and this is part of what happened the very first time ever in concerts, in all the years he's been doing concerts, when he had to cancel several dates with a flu virus. And apparently, I hope not seriously, but we didn't want to take any chances and send him out right away so that he could go get some rest for tonight's concert. But he's been to the station. We've done maybe 5, 6, 7 interviews over a period of hours and hours and hours, and a man has abounding energy and is just an incredible individual from that standpoint. And night and day, hours and hours, he can keep going, and I've never seen him feel quite as bad as what happened just now here live at the Hard Rock Cafe. And so we'll be right back with you in just a moment. And of course we have Julian Lennon, and we're passing along a message from Elton John to everyone here at the Hard Rock and all of you listening, how upset he was that he took ill. And believe me, we really had to sit him down and hold on, and I hope that now some rest before tonight's concert will make everything all right. He is in the midst and did have to cancel some concerts on the tour, first time ever in Elton John tour history that this has happened, and it is the flu. He's had a doctor treating him. The doctor has said, as many of you have had this particular flu bug know, that it seems like it goes away and then it comes back again and smacks you right up the side of your head, puts you down flat again. And I've never, ever seen Elton John feel as bad as he looked.
He's still hoping to do the show, go on tonight.
Oh, yes, he's going on tonight. You know, he's going to go on tonight unless it totally collapses. And, of course, if that was going to happen, we'd tell you. But he felt it most urgent that he get back to the hotel and get a treatment from the doctor and everything, and just rest to make sure that could happen, because he doesn't want to have to cancel dates as he had to before. Dave Herman is with us here live at the Hard Rock, and Dave has some history in our 17-year anniversary, some history at the station, and some history even before that, and that concerned Elton John. Tell us about it.
But first of all, it occurred to me that this really demonstrates to people the kind of man that Elton is. I mean, it would have been very easy for him, and many other people might have just phoned about an hour or two ago and said, listen, boys, I'm sorry, I just don't feel well, and
and he came in and he didn't feel good.
No, he came here. It's Elton's great loyalty to his fans in New York, to you, Scott, to WNEW-FM, that he said, well, I'm going to try to get through this. I promised, and they're waiting for me, and it really is.
Well, he borrowed my jacket. He put it on right away. He said he was freezing, and he started shaking, and he got the chills before we even got on the air, so I gave him my jacket, and it's really not cool in here. And then he said I have to take the jacket off because I'm just so hot that I can't stand it. And then as soon as he took the jacket off, he started to shake again. And I know he wanted to go out in the crowd here, the folks that are at the Hard Rock, and say hello to him. And then all of a sudden he said, I don't want anybody to see me feeling this bad.
Yeah, I have a feeling he's more disappointed than the fans who are here who wanted to see him and the people who are at home.
Yes, he is. And he said that. And he said, listen, I'm going to come back at another time. We'll talk. We'll have a good show and everything. He said, I'm afraid I'm going to pass out. And that's when we were holding him over there, because he couldn't really sit up straight. And he just kept shaking with the chills, and then he began to sweat, and then he got cold again. And of course, I guess we've all been through the flu enough to know that. And he's really sincere. He wanted to stay here and keep trying to do it, and we just wouldn't let him. I mean, it's ridiculous. He has an important show to do tonight, and
yeah, that's the number one priority with him.
We have some other things like his the historic Thanksgiving concert here in New York when John Lennon joined him on stage. We have that music standing by. We have some of the music that he wanted us to hear, and we have a story from you, which is history with Elton John. Dave.
Well, it may be a surprise to some people, but I actually did work on the radio before WNEW-FM, if we can go back so many years. But a couple of years...
It wasn't as good a station, but it was...
Well, but there was a radio station in New York in 1970 that no longer exists, hasn't for many, many years, called WABC-FM. And we were playing Elton John's music very, very early in his career at that station, and Elton came to New York to do an appearance at the Fillmore East. He was actually opening the show for Leon Russell, who was headlining. That was going to be on a Friday night at the Fillmore East in November of 1970 on the, I think that was going to be on the 19th. And he had an idea that he wanted to do a live broadcast in the city and was looking for someone to do that with him, and WABC-FM consented. So 2 days before Elton opened the Fillmore East for Leon Russell, he did a very, very memorable and historic concert in a small recording studio at A&R Studios here in New York, which was broadcast not on any kind of a network, because Elton wasn't really all that well known at the time, but was broadcast in New York City on the old WABC-FM. It became an album called 11-17-70, which was the date of this, I think perhaps the first rock and roll broadcast that was done live on the radio in New York, because it wasn't like all that much the thing to do as it has become since. So are we going to play something from 11-17-70? Can we do Take Me to the Pilot and maybe hear the intro?
We're at the A&R Studios in New York.